Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm hoping that today's video will be informative to anyone who's interested in film production, the course itself. I've been getting a lot of questions and I'm super happy that people who are watching my videos are not afraid to just reach out. I started all of this kind of empty-handed, not really knowing what I should do, and made it a lot more stressful because I didn't reach out or talk to anybody about it, aside from people from my family. But talking to someone who's actually experiencing it is a lot more different. Ask any questions or advice and tips before starting your course. It's just really useful and I'm hoping that I can be that for you. So basically what I did was I went on Reddit. I was like, oh, this is quite interesting because there are so many people who you'll find have similar experiences as you, but they have obviously a different background. Seeing all of that under one platform, and you can literally ask anything, you will find an answer for sure. Reddit amazes me and also scares me at the same time. What I wanted to say is that I've picked out a few posts. Let's start it off with this. I'm just gonna go at it randomly. Here's what someone wrote. Is it normal for a student film to want me to be on set 12 hours a day for 2 weeks straight? Recently signed on as a still photographer and the PA explained I'm expected to be on set nearly every day for the next 2 weeks for what are, as far as I can tell, 12-hour days. I'm not being compensated in any way other than a lunch, a baked potato a day, and the option to sleep in an Airbnb with the rest of the crew. Is this to be expected in a student film? Not being paid or particularly comfortable makes sense to me for a student film, but the long days for such a long stretch of time seems unreasonable. Truth be told, we study in Germany and obviously here there are a certain amount of ethical rules. There's like a limit to how long a set can be, and usually that's up to 10 hours. It's definitely normal to have long days, especially if you shoot in a city like Berlin where there's a lot of traveling to do and you go from one area to another. That's already like an hour and a half to 2 hours just for a change of location. So that is understandable how the hours might add up, but the fact that it's 2 weeks straight for us never happened. Obviously, I'm just answering this based off of my experiences. Someone else might have had something completely different. For me, this is quite unusual. For first year, we mostly just had maybe 2-3 shoot days, and that was it. As the projects are longer and longer, it obviously is going to require more time. The fact that it's not paid is super normal. I haven't been paid on any set. There were cases where I went on a set just to help out. Either I saw it on a group chat somewhere that someone needed someone. I often do say yes to that, but it's a lot of different roles, whether it's camera assistant or sound or AD, like it always varies. It's not necessarily just one role. So I'll just say yes to that and I go, and it's like you spend an entire day and night. There was one shoot I went to 2 days in a row and they were long days. It was extremely tiring, but then also you're learning and you want the experience, which is fun. And if you don't know anybody else on set, it already gets quite challenging and just tiring in general. And on top of that, you're not getting paid. Also, this example that I'm talking about, it was during Ramadan, so I wasn't even eating. You know what I mean? Like, other than the fact that I'm learning from this experience and I'm just getting to meet people, etc., like I'm not getting anything. And I'm aware of that. For students, I think it's really normal and expected. If it is funded or something like that, I think people would be more willing to pay someone, especially if that person is outside of your crew. I feel like you'd want to compensate them in a way. It's very common for the compensation to be food, right? They'd be like, we have food and snacks and drinks, so please come help us on set. That's the classic statement. It works. People want experiences and projects, so they'll say yes anyway, like whether there's food or not, I feel. The baked potato, I mean, I don't know. If it's a very student set, then I wouldn't expect much. I know we've cooked pasta, friend made curry once, then maybe you order pizza. Like, it's very easy foods. We want to finish the lunch break fast, we want to eat fast and then move along with our day. So I don't know. I don't know if I would expect much, to be honest, but also I'm only saying this because this year there were sets where it was just snacks. Some sets have healthy snacks, some only chips and chocolate, and like, I don't know, that also kind of affects your mood during the day. It does seem unreasonable, but I think it just depends on whether or not the film requires that lengthy of a time. If it's a longer film and it needs that time, or there's a lot of location changes, setups that are going to take a lot of time to build up and pack up, I don't want to say that it's unreasonable without knowing anything about the script or without the schedule, without anything. I can't really say. Also, I've realized, looking at some of my classmates, some are quite picky with which projects they want to be part of. At the start, I didn't really think that we had a choice like that. The beginning of your career, to me, it just seemed like you just need to join as many projects as you can and try to not only work but also learn as much as you can. And especially when you're studying, that's like an amazing opportunity because there's always something. There's always someone who needs your help. There's always someone that you can find and have some sort of collaboration or whatever. So there's just a lot that you can do, which is great. But then again, sometimes when you're trying to help out as much as you can, you go on sets and you realize, okay, these people are mistreating you, etc. And that's not okay. I don't think it's worth all of that effort. It really isn't. Like, don't put yourself in situations and sets that make you unhappy, because on the long term, that project, it's fine, it's done. Like, they can get it done without you. They'll find someone else to help out, or maybe you can just help them find someone else. But if you're in an environment where you don't feel welcome, or it's so stressful that it's really impacting you negatively and people are not really, like, they're expecting a lot from you even though it's not your job, etc. Like, those types of things I think really matter, because in one way or another, it's not how it's supposed to be. I'm not saying that sets are fun, etc. No, like, sets are gonna be stressful because you're trying to shoot something, you have a limited budget and time, etc. And it's a lot and you're constantly dealing with people, and in a way it's beautiful because you're learning all of that at a younger age than some others, and you're learning a lot of the mistakes that maybe you would learn on a real set. The way I approach it is I wouldn't be too picky, because then again, you say no to some projects that you don't even know how much you'll learn or which type of people you'll meet, etc. So I think always just keep an open mind on which sets you want to go to. And secondly, as soon as you are there, don't feel committed. As soon as you enter a set and you feel that way, just leave. It's not worth it. You'll find another set. And I think if you have a team that is not working properly, or say there's a lot of conflicts within the group, I feel like that also comes across on the footage. It's just the overall environment, right? The film didn't turn out great, but you had a lot of fun on set. At least you'd say, okay, like, we tried, but it was fun, it was fine. Like, whatever it is, each set that you go to, you'll learn a lot, no matter what it is, because there's always going to be an issue, either with the camera, the lighting setup, anything. It's natural. It's almost rare to not have one problem on set. The smooth ones also happen. Like, I don't know, it could go one of both ways, but just for this example, or just for this argument, I guess, there's anyways going to be issues, right? It's just about your attitude, how you approach it. Everyone, I'm talking about everyone. It only takes one person to ruin this environment. I have pretty strong feelings about this because this year has taught me a lot, and that there were periods where I was just like, let me help, okay, I'll do this and that. And a lot of the times I say yes to people that I don't really want to work with, or I know that there's someone else in the group. You just have to remember that you have the right to say no, and you have the right to say, hey, look, I'm not really feeling well on this set. I don't think I'm gonna come tomorrow. If you need any help finding someone else, I would happily help. And yeah, like, you can just pass it on like that. It's not that deep. It's only a student set. Having said that, it's quite important that you put your health first, and you also don't overwork yourself, because I remember there was one person in our class who was extremely active and trying to help out everyone, which is wonderful, but obviously then you're still gonna have different priorities, right? You're gonna put maybe your film first, or maybe because you're helping out everyone else around you, you don't put enough attention to your film. These projects will never end. There's always something. So just know your limits within yourself, biologically, physically, I mean. Anyone who's in the industry has told me, yeah, just take part in however many projects that you can, just so that you get a hang of everything and how it works. Secondly, just so that you meet people at the end of the day, and you learn how to deal with people as you go, and you really do. Here's another one. I feel like I'm behind as a film student. What do? I'm a college student just about to finish the first school year, and I feel like I don't have enough time to accomplish the goals I've set for myself before I graduate. But now I'm feeling the extra pressure to do everything within the next 2 years of my life. Film production is obviously expensive, and the college I go to has a bunch of crazy good sources that I need to take advantage of before I graduate. My college organization providing funding, equipment, location permits, etc. I've worked on 6 sets over the course of my first year, but none of my positions were particularly impressive. PA, costume designer, art team, etc. I've been trying to get hired as a DP or some other more impressive positions. I can get more experience, but I've only been ever hired for the same few ones. Recently, I just pitched pitched my first project to a student organization that provides tons of funding, but it got rejected. Going forward, I only have the time to produce one more major project, my BFA thesis, and my BFA thesis isn't even guaranteed to get approved for production. But I've been hearing that other people at my college have produced so many things. I know someone who produced 3 projects, including one for the organization that rejected me. I know a handful of other freshmen who have made projects already because their pitches have been accepted, and now I feel so incredibly behind. Am I doing enough? What do I do? I know the obvious answer is to keep making more projects, but I'm so exhausted from everything that I feel somewhat creatively drained, and I'm worried a lot of said projects would overlap with each other to the point where I'd burn myself out in an instant. Obviously, this was posted a year ago, but I feel like just commenting on it could be useful for those of you who are experiencing something similar. And the reason why I connected with this post is because I just finished my first year. So I already feel you'll never not have done enough, right? In any case, it's always, I could have done this, I could have done that. Like even when I look back to my first year at Catalyst Berlin, I already feel like I could have done more, right? But then again, in the moment, you already feel like you're doing a lot, and it gets very easy to lose the hang of how much you're actually doing. It also comes in waves for me, how active I am when it comes to certain projects. And I think at the start of every year, you should definitely set a few goals that you want to accomplish. But the way that I would approach it is in a more realistic way. You just write a few things, right? I want to make consistent YouTube videos, I want to do this and that, and this many projects, I want to write this many scripts, or whatever it is. Everything that you want to accomplish before you graduate, and just try each year to do as much as you can. Obviously, life gets in the way of things. I don't know, something gets in the way, you get sick. There's a lot of real ways to lose track of time. The environmental changes also impact your motivation. It just depends on your discipline. And if I say, okay, this year I want to write a script, write it, just go for it, start it. Don't necessarily give yourself a timeline. We have a lot on our minds, and we spend a lot of time on social media, and I think it's important to sometimes just pull out a paper and pen and just write down, really, what do I want to do this year? Some people will write a lot, and this is what I'm talking about. Some people write so much that it gets unrealistic. Even if you gave all of your time, even if you accomplish all of that, there's always going to be something more that you'd want to do. You have classes during the day, mandatory attendance, maybe your family visits you once in a while, or friends, or you go out, etc. And on top of your own projects for school, there are other people's projects that you're included in, and external projects, etc. And I found that it's quite difficult to manage all of this and have your personal projects on top of that. I understand why it is difficult to spare time, and then you feel like, oh, I could have spent this time on this if I had done that, or if only I had time to do this. There's always something that you wish you had done. I realized that if I'm doing it for a specific reason, if YouTube, let's say, was my job, this is what I'm living off of and I have to do it, I would feel a lot more pressure to do it if this was the only thing. But if you do it as a hobby, you get to enjoy it a little more. You kind of just do it literally for the love of the game. That's when the love that you have for this art is at risk. That's when that could easily be lost in the way of, this is my job, I don't enjoy it like I used to. I'm not sure if you agree with me, and also I've been talking so much, I don't even know what I'm saying at this point, so don't take everything that I say literally. The thing is, we just finished our first year, and yes, there's a lot of things that haven't been accomplished, but even saying that feels wrong, because it's not a case of, oh, I couldn't accomplish this and that, but you have next year, you have this month, you have today, right? So there's always a way for you to find time, is what I believe. Even when there's, say, a month of just projects on projects with just helping people, student sets, this and that, it's a lot, I understand, but in the year, because at the end of the day, you have to learn how to do this too, right? You have to learn how to allocate time and dedicate time for yourself. And as difficult as that is, and as challenging as I find it right now, I'm not telling myself, oh, I couldn't do it, it's never gonna happen. I'm just saying, okay, look, it didn't happen right now. I know that next year, if I push myself harder, then I will be able to find time. We all have it within us. It's just that we need to awaken that side of us to just excel and grow. And I think the more discipline you have, the likelier it is for you to reach that self. Yeah, film production is really, really expensive. And I think one thing that also is important to mention is that oftentimes if you want to produce your own films, you're gonna have to pay for it yourself. There are a lot of people and organizations, especially in Germany, who are open to funding creative projects. It's wonderful help, especially if you're a student and you're on a low budget. Sometimes I think when we do get some sort of funding, you're like, oh, we have so much money to spend, etc. And then you realize it's not actually that much money when you're doing it. Or the opposite, it's like you feel so lucky that you have this much money, etc. and you try to use it all. So I don't think any project, even if anything that you shoot on your phone, it's not wasted. Secondly, I didn't count how many sets I was on. I mean, I didn't really care. I see why people might be like, oh, I've been on 20 sets. Like, okay, obviously there is a hierarchy of impressive roles. Even if I was sound on a set, I'm still learning from whatever I see. Like, that wouldn't shy me away from being part of this project. I don't think we should be too stuck on names because we're all students and the way that we function in our uni. Previously, we worked at different roles once a week. So I think we're all used to kind of helping each other out, knowing how to handle different roles on set. The hierarchy is not that prominent up until you get into the later months when people start needing people for several projects, etc. And then you realize, oh, okay, like if I was a DOP, I'd get a lot of recognition for my work and people would want to work with me a lot more than if I was just a sound. Or maybe I wouldn't say sound because sound is vital. You don't always need a costume designer if it's a small set. Some roles you can get away with not having on set. So those I do understand why some sort of hierarchy might happen, but because I'm so used to all of us working on multiple different sets as different roles, the hierarchy it's not that fundamental. I would want to, let's say, get to learn more about cameras and actually have a chance to film with the camera and kind of operate the camera, etc. And there were cases where that just isn't given to you, either because you don't really know, or the person expects a lot, or the person doesn't really give you the chance to do it. And at that point, like, if you don't start somewhere, you'll never learn. And some people are not going to provide you that chance to start. So you have to kind of figure it out by yourself. Either book a camera from uni and just try to train by yourself, and over time maybe you share some things on social media and people are going to like it, and then they'll say, hey, like, do you want to shoot this for me? This year I did have moments, the role that I was supposed to do and I didn't get a chance to do it. At that point I was just like, what am I doing on this set? Because I'm not useful in any kind of way. I'm just here because I was supposed to be a certain role and you're not helping out in any way. Or maybe you were trying to, but then again, like, everyone's got it handled already. And those types of sets, I'm just like, hey, like, just be real with me. I don't need to be here if I'm not gonna be, first of all, the role that I was assigned to be, if you're not gonna give me a chance to learn. That's the changing point for me. After that, I realized everyone is solo. Everyone has their own ways of dealing with things. And if someone isn't super open-minded into helping you learn, then leave them be, right? Because I was on sets where I learned a lot, where people were very open and honest about it. And they were like, okay, look, I know you don't know anything about this, but I'll just direct you. I'll narrate how you should do certain things, and they just work with you. And that's exactly how it should be, because we're all students at the end of the day. We're all just learning. We're all beginners. Even if you've been on many film sets, you'll find that you'll learn something new on every project. So don't get stuck on numbers. That doesn't define anything. It's all about what you experience. Rejection or failure, it's a sign of growth. It needs to happen for all of us to know and to learn and how to stand back up again. The roles, I mean, yeah, it's very sticky. And if you haven't really gotten a chance to be DP or have more of the impressive positions, as you said, find your way. Because even I got to find my way. It's either you meet someone and they believe in you and you're okay, or you just need to train a little bit on the outskirts. You try to just show them your work. You don't need to be doing all of this for other people. Just do it for yourself. If you want to learn it for yourself. People don't want to give you a chance, or they don't necessarily believe that your skills are good enough or whatever. Like, we're all learning. Again, please give people chances. What are you talking about? Even if you only know the basics, you can make something good. Keep those people away from you. Know your boundaries. Hold on. There's a massive spider. And lastly, do not compare yourself to anyone, because again, we all have different backgrounds. You just need to take it day by day. Never pressure yourself or look at others. You don't need to say all of that. You don't need to think all of it. All you have to think of is yourself and put yourself first a little bit. Like, just be a little selfish. This is the time for you to be, because we're at the start of our careers. Just educate yourself, get better and better at what you do, what you love to do, and what you would like to do in the future. And we'll see where it takes you. I think everyone's capable of learning. There are no excuses. I don't think it's worth burning yourself out. Just stay yourself. Keep an open mind. Even people who might have been a bit harsh with you or hurt your feelings, even they can change. And we change so much from first year to third year. I can only assume that we're going to change a lot. What do you think are the most common problems in student sets? Casting teenagers as adult characters, having a desire to include guns, violence in the film, not putting enough energy in editing, films that last too long. I don't think it applies to our uni that much. I think the most common problems that we've been facing, aside from money, which is a very obvious one, because sometimes you don't get the location that you want or there's no availability, mostly tied to money. For us, we didn't have any problems with showing guns or violence. Obviously, they're all toys, it's not real. So I think maybe that's part of the reason. We can make our films look a little bit edgy. Of course, no one has made a film where it's very explicit. So knowing that that has never happened, I'm assuming it's not a common problem for us. It's a lot of time issues. A lot of the schedules are wrong. Sometimes if you coordinate it well, I've been ADing quite often the last few months of first year. So what I can say about that is if you coordinate it well, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be stressful along the way, and maybe some shots you finish earlier than others so you can spare more time for something else, which is one thing. So overscheduling is always beneficial, but then sometimes you schedule too much and it's unrealistic, it doesn't happen. Something happens, maybe it's gonna rain one day, or someone is sick and they can't come to set. One of your actors is late. There's so many problems that affect time. Either you need to add one extra shoot day, but then again, people's availability is also on the line. I think those are the most common problems on student sets. I would say time, money, just overall responsibility, because some people, they forget something or just anything that could hinder or delay the process of the shoot. Casting children is very difficult. We did have some people manage it, it makes it a lot more emotional. In our classes, you wouldn't really expect that. Of all of the films, when you notice one that has, let's say, a child actor, it really stands out. For the editing, it's totally true. Before the submission, people always lack a bit of time for editing. That window is very short. If you plan it out perfectly fine, or if you don't run into any major issue with downloading footage, transferring, or editing, then it's fine and everyone's responsible for whatever they do. Usually there's someone to edit, someone to color grade, someone to fix sound. You're already dependent on 3 people to get your film ready. On top of that, you have to supervise everyone if you're the one directing. You have a lot of work put into post-production, and a lot of the times you don't spare enough time for that. At least from the experience that I had this year. It's upsetting because the first viewing, the first feedback you ever get is the most important one. Just try to save it as much as you can, just so that you can get a proper feedback. But if you send off the feedback to class, let's say, you already kind of know the things that they're gonna say. It's not color graded, the sound here is off, this match cut doesn't make any sense, or whatever. Some obvious feedback is not necessarily what you want to hear, whereas if you had spared more time for those changes and edits, then maybe you'd get proper feedback about the flow of the story. More in-depth feedback would be given, and that's more precious. The feedback where half of it you already know because you know that you didn't finish it on time, and you do fix all of that and you show it to them, it's not the same as showing a full, proper first draft. What are the most commonly made student films? There are lots of similarities when it comes to this. You can definitely find patterns. And a lot of the microfilms, the kilo films that we shot, first of all, there's an inclusion of a dance sequence. It can represent multiple different things, but that has definitely been in a lot of the microfilms. Another one, for our kilo films, people got a lot more personal. And there was a lot of films that were mostly centered around sexualities and identity. Everyone does have their own style. It just changes depending. Like some films were very satire and comedic. Some were quite deep, discussing motifs like grief, family, love. What subjects did you study in film school? Okay, this is my chance to tell you guys. Please watch my videos, the recap for the first semester and the second semester, but just a broad overview of the subjects. It's like editing, screenwriting, production management. So this year we just kind of learned the bases, and next year it's gonna go into more of the screenwriting, let's say, or the character, like how to write a character, which is what I heard. You learn a bit of everything. You get an induction for all of the equipment, first of all, so you immediately know how to use kind of everything. Those are the types of subjects they expect in a film school based off mine. Film students here, how do you all manage your time, relationships, and commitments? I think with time it gets very difficult because mandatory attendance already makes it intense. If you go on a set, it's gonna last at least 6 hours. That's already one day gone. In some cases, you'll try to maybe see your friends in the evening after class. It's also the fact that in Berlin, there's a lot of travel time. You travel so long, and even with the new campus for next year, I'm traveling 45 minutes, which is wonderful. I'm not complaining about this at all, or maybe 50 minutes, but it's perfect because last year it was an hour, maybe longer, depending on how it is. And when it gets snowy, so in winter time, it's a lot more difficult because you just go to uni, you have projects, and you go home. Sometimes you commit yourself to too many projects. I do understand why a lot of people who work in the industry don't really find enough time for relationships, things as such, because you're really just dedicating entirety of your day to, say, make a film. You're gonna learn how to allocate your time. For example, calling my family, talking to them. Usually, I'd be the type of person to listen to music when I'm on the way, I'm taking public transport, etc. But now that has changed. I always just call my family because I know as soon as I'm home, I'm tired, I'm just gonna try to defrost. It's just about finding the right amount of time to keep your relationship safe. How do film students plan their free time? You can just try to dedicate one afternoon for yourself. I usually keep Sundays free. We do get a lot of holidays, which is nice because it gives you so much time. Like summer is 3.5 months, and then you get winter and Easter break, and there's so much time at your hands where you don't have mandatory attendance. And if you're not on a set, then you can just spend that morning work on something for yourself. To anyone who did not study film or any related field at college or picked it up later in life, how did you start, or where do you meet people? Where did you end up? Also, how do you make this a hobby you can take seriously while having a job? I have a lot of friends who do video editing. It's a hobby that pays them well, and some that's what they live off of. Either they study on the side. You can definitely find time. It just means that maybe instead of going out with your friends, you'd stay at home to work. As soon as you learn how to prioritize your time and what you prioritize it for, the more realistic it is for you to manage a lifestyle like that. It's kind of just like reading a book or writing one. The job, it's a lot more difficult. If it's a full-time job, I don't know. You'd have to either sacrifice some of your sleep or some of the time that you could spend like with friends or with your partner. For my case, what happened is that I was studying EBE in Amsterdam. For those of you who don't know, I really wanted film, theater, or acting before. It was just my dream. It's always been, and it was just very difficult to convince my parents at the time. A lot of the people's journeys is like they'll study psychology or, I don't know, law. They'll study something before getting onto film, before studying theater or music. I think it's very common for people to have that safe option first and then get on with what they actually want to pursue. And for me, it was exactly like that. I struggled a lot. I started giving a lot more attention and work for it towards the end of it. I never wanted to just give up. That isn't really in my nature. And it was just a very difficult time for me because I was also trying to figure out living by myself, and it's like that first year impact. I went through so much last year, emotionally and physically. I'm aware that some people have it worse than me. Some people have it a lot easier. So I'm not really talking about any other case, just for myself and how I felt in the moment. And it was very draining. My parents were extremely understanding, and I'm very thankful thankful for that, for how they approached it. Yeah, they just said, look, just study whatever you want, you know, don't pressure yourself, don't drain yourself, because it really just shows, and however I feel affects my body. So I'll immediately know if something is good or bad for me, because it's either with stomach issues or your overall diet, or you'll see differences and you'll know what makes you happier or not. A lot of the signs were there that EBE was not for me, and even if you try to push yourself to do through it, I anyways knew that I was gonna get onto filmmaking afterwards. And I think a lot of the things that happened kind of just made it feasible for me to attain that before. I got onto it very, very late. Late in the sense that I took that first step for another path, another career, another journey, and just kind of turned back to what I originally wanted. And even if it wasn't in the conditions that I wanted, at least I can say I have privilege to study something that I really just have been idealizing in my head all this time. And now that I realize I need to make the most out of it. And that's all that matters. That's all I care about. Every major has its own difficulties, and having to readapt as well, I think that also counts in the entire process of this. And I don't think anyone should shy away from it. Some people turn their heads 2-3 years in a degree that they're not fully passionate about. They realize, look, this isn't for me. Changes for everybody. Some people fully study beforehand and then get onto filmmaking the way that it's traditionally looked upon, or what I was originally about to do. It just means that you've cultivated a lot of different skills that maybe other people don't have, because to them it was just filmmaking from the start. It's difficult, but then because university enables you to meet so many different people all at once, meeting people is never an issue. Meeting the right ones, being friends with the right ones, that's what is going to take a lot more time. And I think in the second semester, everyone kind of realizes who is their real friend and which group they're part of, etc. Like, I think second semester is when you truly realize, and that's when I think you can afford to open up to the people that you would actually call friends. Even if you pick it up later, it's never too late. First of all, you can, even after you've already started a career in finance, let's say, it's not over. Like, just go for it. Just start somewhere. You can start writing scripts by yourself, even if you have a full career set in stone, because nothing is like that. You know, you can always switch up, and I think a lot of people have career changes. That's also something that comes with our generation that I like to really reiterate a lot. It's the fact that we are able to do so many different things all at once. We're able to work, let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of examples, like work at a bank, right, during the day, and then you can become a DJ at night. Like, this is the generation we live in. I find it quite inspirational because I think people are getting more and more creative as the years go by when it comes to painting or expressing yourself with music. And it's just been a growing, trending thing. It's spreading a lot on social media. And in a way, it's very true that this is happening, that you can be a writer, filmmaker, but also a teacher at a primary school, or there's just endless opportunities, not like it was before where you studied something and that was your career for your entire life. Now it's a lot more different. You can have a completely different lifestyle than what you thought you'd have at the start of your studies. You don't necessarily need to have a job in the field of the major that you studied. And even within the film industry, it's such a big umbrella that you can get into any department, and it's true that network is everything. And if you don't know someone who can get you a place, etc., it's a lot harder to get to the position that you want to be in. So it's very difficult. Truly, when you close your eyes, if you believe in it, then there's nothing that can stop you. Just enjoying life as it is. I really just enjoy talking freely about these things because I think it's not really well said. And my goal isn't to advertise what I'm studying. It's mostly just sharing my experience to those who are interested in it. Also talk about the honest truths of what it implies. Again, like with just the whole aspect of collaborating with people, etc. Like there's so many factors that impact what your student life could be like when you study film, and it's not talked about enough. I just wanted to make this video. I hope you enjoyed. I know I talked a lot. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more, and I think that's it for today.